Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tad Talk. Well, anybody who knows me knows I'm going to be pretty much geeking out all day today. Apart from music and my family, footy is my obsession. Football, the real football, the round football. And the word legend is used far too many times these days, and there are true legends in our game now. I'm going to bring something up from here. If you take a look at this here, this man with his hand on his backside is George Best, and this little thing is signed. It's not signed on the picture because he only signed 3 of them. For me, he was a hero and was the greatest footballer of all time. So naturally, the guy that you're not going to like is the goalkeeper that made probably his best save against my hero. Check out this video.
Rice finding a lot of room on this flank. Graham diagonally forward. Not pushed anything like hard enough. Manchester United have got a man over for a change. Best. He was onside. Wilson out. Beautifully taken. Never took his eye off the ball for a second. George Best trying to dummy him. Wilson didn't want to know.
My co-host today is Sam Kane in England, who set this up for us, and you can see these pictures behind us. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thanks, mate. Really looking forward to this one, and I know you are, my friend.
And I'm definitely looking forward because the man that saved that shot from George Best is the one and only Bob Wilson. Welcome to the show, Bob.
Terry, thank you.
How are you?
Yeah, we're fine, and I'm a little bit fed up with the amount of time now that it's taking to get through this crazy time that we're all living through, and you know, it applies to everybody, and we're just very fortunate that we live where we live near the sea, and yeah, it's
crazy stuff. And you know, football did get restarted. It was very strange. We've got water breaks in the middle of each half, which became tactic breaks, and no crowds and stuff. But so glad that it came back. We needed it in our life, I think.
Yeah, it's quite funny. Over here, we can either have the sort of artificial crowd noise, or you can have it without. And I've actually got it to playing without the crowd noise. And it just reminds me, it takes me way back to all those years ago when I was a footballer and we had a practice game in an empty stadium. And you can hear every word and every bad bit of language that goes on, you know, commentators are apologizing quite regularly. It's a really strange way of playing, and to get the same intensity that you get when you have a packed audience, you know, whether it be 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 or whatever, you know, it is just so totally different for the guys who are playing.
No, absolutely. And it's funny you say that because I watch, as everyone knows on here, I'm a massive Man United fan, so I watch all the games. And the first game I watched in Restart was without the crowd noise. And I suddenly have a brand new favourite player called Scott McTominay, who was a youngster, but he was running around effing and blinding. Someone got fouled, dived, went over, get your effing ass up, come on, we're not. And you could hear all of this. And you think, wow, this is
Scottish.
Sorry?
Terry, he's Scottish. He's Scottish.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got pure Scottish blood in me, so you know, you get it from your mum and dad or whatever. You know, it's one of those traits being a Scot.
Absolutely. It's great having you on the show, and I've actually something's just crossed my mind now. Not only is the name recognizable, but something you don't get when you talk to footballers, and it's just hit me here, is your voice is so recognizable because of all the years on Football Focus, Match of the Day, and so on. And that's just hit me, which is great. I hear the voice, and I'm sat on the couch with a plate of fish and chips and watching Match of the Day again.
Yeah, I must say it's really strange. My wife and I, we might be out somewhere, we might be out with friends, and there will be groups of people sort of talking, and I get asked a question or I start the conversation and I speak, and even now I'm surprised at how many heads turn, and we recognize the voice. So yeah, I was very fortunate that I had an amazing sort of childhood and an upbringing, and I think you're either lucky or not to
I always think we all live a privileged life if we're brought up in the UK or US compared to the other 80% of the world. We're very, very privileged to live the short time we get on the planet to live as we do. We start off TAD Talk every show with 3 random questions, and your friend Sam down here is going to deliver these today.
Bob, thanks so much for coming on, my friend. It's great to see your face. You look amazing, by the way. You're telling me you've lost a few of the lockdown layers being on your bike. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm of the 106 days or whatever it is now. I've been on my bike usually 6:45 to 7 o'clock in the morning. And then I will cycle. I live at Christchurch, which is the south coast of England. I'll either cycle on the big rides, I'll cycle to Bournemouth, which is, over 10 miles to be there and back. But on the short rides, I'm usually 50 minutes. And I was very lucky to be born, not only where I was born, but the fact that I was born sort of a natural. I love cricket, football, athletics, tennis, you can name it. I'm determined that I'm going to keep looking reasonably fit until the day. Yeah.
Your age, what are you now? You're 53 plus tax, right? So you're a couple of years shy of an octogenarian, but it's you look fantastic.
Yeah, you're right. I'm going to be 79 in 2 months' time. Yeah.
So these random questions, Bob, are you ready for this? Fire away.
I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay, first random question: what's your pet peeve, Mr. Wilson?
Oh, do you know that's linked to the moment? I'm really angry about presenters and the media side of people at a time when this is an unprecedented time, who are sneering and snarling and. You're damned if you are and you're damned if you don't with this pandemic. And I'm really upset about quite a few of the main presenters, who are interviewing whoever it might be who are connected with the pandemic. So that's definitely one pet peeve.
Supposed to be unbiased, aren't they? But they're certainly not, Bob. Okay, question number 2. Who, Bob, is Meg's there? Your wife, is she in earshot?
She's in earshot.
Oh, God. Okay, I'll whisper. Who is your celebrity crush, Mr. Wilson?
Oh, my goodness me. That's you know what, I have to go back, when I talk about my age, I'm going back to initially Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, God. I guess. Everybody's, though. That's got to be everybody.
Yeah, Bridget Bardot, we're going back to that sort of era, aren't we, Sam?
Well, you married a blonde as well, Bob, didn't you?
At least I'm happy I can still remember.
Oh, she's beautiful, Meg. She's beautiful. You, like I said, I've always said I'm well punching above my weight. Beautiful girl you married. We were lucky, Bob. I married my celebrity crush. I'm quite lucky. What about you, Terry? Who's yours?
I married mine. She's a celebrity, she's still my crush. But if you're talking about movie stars, I think Raquel Welch was pretty stunning.
It's a little bit of a rarity, though, Terry. Probably you've not been with her. In 2 days' time, we are 56 years married.
Wow!
But we were married when we were 21, 22, and we actually started seeing each other as boyfriend and girlfriend at 11 and 12 years of age.
Wow. Well, that's we've done 36 years, so I'm pretty excited about that. We've been together forever, but 50.
Yeah, she needs an Oscar or something, because she trained to be an actress, which I took away from her when we got married, and obviously there were 3 children came along very quickly, and yeah, she certainly had to put up with a lot, especially when you're a professional sportsman and in the media world as well.
Yeah.
You know what's lovely to see, Bob? We've been friends quite a long time, and we've been together privately and, at different events and even in each other's houses, and you and Megs just always get on. You're best friends, and it's so lovely to see.
Well, I mean, that's good. It's lovely that you say that. I mean, I like to think that as well, Sam. I mean, you said as well, you married the love of your life and Linda, and we both punched above our weight, as you said.
Yeah. The problem with me, Bob, was Linda was the love of most other people's lives as well, but I beat them to the chase. Final question, sir. Who was your least favourite player?
Oh, my least favourite player. Oh, my goodness me. I've got a least favourite player of the recent modern era, who was a Manchester United player, which will...
Oh, come on. Share that, Bob. Share that.
I will mention it, Roy Keane, because I think it's terrible. He wrote an autobiography and said that he deliberately went out to break a guy's leg. So I that upsets me. Great player maybe, Terry, but
no, I agree with you. I thought he was a brilliant footballer for United, but I don't like his punditry. And I read his autobiography. It leaves a lot to be desired too.
Yeah, a little bit over the top, isn't it? But just going back to the question, Sam, I would have to say those who look, I love him. He's still with us. He's a Tottenham player. He could make me look stupid, and his name was Jimmy Greaves. And I mean, time and again, I'd say I've got my near post covered. I've got everything covered. Jim, you can only score in the far top corner. This is perfect. Bang, far top corner.
Yeah.
And then he'd run up to me. He'd wink and he'd laugh and he'd run off. But he was amazing footballer, amazing. And you just got to hold up your hands and give credit.
Yeah, a brilliant footballer. We've got so many questions coming through, and I want to try and get to some of them. So let me just get one or two of them in. One of them is one more question that comes from Steve Riley in Liverpool, and I have to do this. Steve's my brother-in-law, and he's a Liverpool fan, and it would be remiss of me to say congratulations to Liverpool for becoming Premier League champions.
It'd be a miss of me also, so I remain a miss.
No, listen, Terry, I can say that two things about it.
Yeah.
A, totally deserved, a remarkable team and everything, and and I don't wish to dwell on the fact that it is 30 years since they did it.
Yeah.
But whenever I'm asked,
well, as long as you like, Bob.
Where was the best place to play? Where did he get almost inspired? I would say there were two grounds, and the main one was Anfield, always. I mean, the crowd, the cop, it was just incredible. They had great humour as well. We played Liverpool in the cup final, famously when we won the double, and when I ran to the goal, they all were applauding, which was incredible. Especially when I made a mistake in the final, by the way. But it was incredible. And the other ground that had a remarkable crowd was Newcastle. Those two grounds stood out.
Yeah, atmosphere. And it's funny because you've answered that question. That is actually the question that Steve asked, was what your favourite away ground was. So he's thrilled there. You got Bob Wilson to say Anfield and congrats to Liverpool. It's just talking about Jimmy Greaves. Of course, one of the big, I guess it's a black cloud, but not because of him. Was he didn't play in the big World Cup final, in the big one.
Even now. We talk about that, and people say, I mean, the irony is that Jeff Hurst really replaced him and went on to score and become Sir Jeff.
Yeah. And
Jimmy obviously was the leading goal scorer and just a remarkable footballer and everything. And people say, what do you think, if he'd played? And I said, well, I think England would have won the World Cup far easier than they won it if Jimmy Greaves had been playing. That's my reaction to it, because, I mean, I'm not just saying that because he could make me look stupid. He could make all of us goalies look stupid. And for him personally, Terry, it was such a sad thing that you build your life to a World Cup on in your own country, and you go on to win it.
Yeah.
And they eventually got medals, those guys, about 20 years, 30 years afterwards. But Jimmy had to sit on the bench and see other guys. Roger Hunt, I think, really came in for him. I think probably Roger Hunt would have been the one that he would have replaced.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, and of course it's the only time England have ever won the World Cup, and so missing that, it's magnified. And we could talk. I mean, we could talk forever. I could talk forever about all these aspects of football. The World Cup. I look at all the kids. I think 5 years ago we would have questioned where the British kids were coming from, and now you look at people like Harry Kane, Mason Greenwood's coming up. I mean, there's so many, Grealish and all these people, and I think we've got a brilliant manager. So
even Arsenal have got 2 or 3 young good players, by the way.
Yeah, I don't follow Arsenal much.
No, we're in a bad place, Terry, but I tell you, we have got some really promising young guys.
Yeah. No, there's so many, and it's great to see England have a chance. Have a chance. We just don't want Germany in penalties.
No, don't do that. What were your highlights, Bob, looking back in your career?
Well, in my football career, Sam, I mean, I've had 3 careers really, because, I mean, people will probably not know that my dad wouldn't let me sign for Manchester United when I was 16 years of age, and he signed Nobby Stiles, who I played in the same schoolboy team, international team with. But I was on their books, and I played in the academy side for about a season, 2 seasons, and then my dad, he turned down the offer of signing and said, look, son, football's not a proper job. A very Scottish dad. I've not even got a Scottish accent, but my mum and dad incredibly Scottish. And he said, I need you to get a proper job first. So I went off to Loughborough University, and I studied physical education and history, became a teacher. And during that time, Man United sort of lost interest, and I played for British universities, and the physio was a man called Bertie Mee, who at the time was physio for Arsenal, and then ultimately became the manager who believed that Bob Wilson, there was a half-decent goalkeeper. Because, although I have this sort of, legend is mentioned, and I'm up on the side of the stadium with another 31 players, I mean, the fact is that I arrived in '63, I taught for a year and played in the reserves, and then I was in the wilderness till '66, till the World Cup year. And at the end of that season, I played 13 games, and from then on, never ever lost my place, was never dropped, but had a succession of injuries because I had a really strange way of playing, diving at people's feet like you saw with Bestie. Yeah. And it worked for me. I wouldn't recommend it to a lot of people. My hero was a German prisoner of war called Bert Trautmann. And he used to go head first. He broke his neck in the '56 final. And I just seemed to be able to imitate Bert. Probably did it better because I never broke my neck. But
he broke his neck in the final and carried on playing, right?
Yeah, he had 16 minutes. He didn't know he'd broken his neck. In fact, they didn't know till the following Wednesday that Bert had broken his neck. And he was my hero. I got to meet him at a cup final when Spurs played Man City, and then ultimately there was a program, a This Is Your Life program at the Beeb, and the last guest on it, they kept me hanging on. The last guest on was, I hadn't met him before, but he'd come over from, at the time, from Spain, where he was living, and he was the last guest on. And so Bert was my hero as regards my footballing life.
Yeah, I did see that. There's so many questions, and I actually want to go back to your early life, because I know you were the youngest of a bunch of brothers and sisters, I think. But just a couple of... One sister? Is that right?
There were 6 of us in all, and there were 4 boys, and then Jean came along, the one sister, and then my brother Hugh, who's 3 years older than me, and then myself. So there were 6 of us.
Gotcha. Just let me ask you a couple of these questions, because they're going by fast, and I don't want to miss some on the top. There was one really interesting question from Michael Paul that asked you, so many things, from how you played football in the '60s to how you play today. What would you think? What would you say were the biggest differences? And one of the things he brought up was diet. But what do you think?
Well, I mean, just to mention the dietary thing changed with a great Arsenal manager, the greatest they've ever had, Arsene Wenger. He changed the whole dietary side of it, so we can dismiss that quickly. Suddenly it was, he convinced the guys they shouldn't be drinking 6, 8, 10 pints of beer after a game. Yeah. And it was on pastas and all that sort of thing. But as regards the game itself, it is almost, when I say unrecognizable, the goalposts are still the same, 8 yards by 8 feet. The rules are basically the same, although goalkeepers are allowed to do certain things they're not doing now. But the biggest changes are the state of the pitch. The pitches now are part artificial, so you cannot you can't rip up masses of turf, so you don't get muddy, daft sort of pitches in that way. And then the ball is a nightmare if you're a goalkeeper. Yeah. I was a goalkeeper, so I played with the old heavy ball, and it got even heavier as you got the mud and the dirt on it and everything. Played without gloves in my era. It's just crazy. Wow. Nowadays, they play with gloves that cost £250 or whatever they cost. But the trouble now, and the modern player, You can either do a David Beckham where you deliberately can bend the ball and make the ball move, or you can just hit it with sheer power, and somewhere on the route that ball will go up, down, left, or right. And you as a keeper, you ain't got a clue until it actually does that. So it is so different in that respect. I'm not going to go into salary. I'm not going into the salaries being different.
No kidding.
£30 a week.
Well, obviously, there's so much football stuff, and I'm just going to take a little turn away from football for a second. Go back to your early days, your youngest of 6. I know 2 of your idols were your oldest brothers, who lost their life in World War II. How old were you? How much do you remember that, Bob?
I don't remember Jock and Billy at all. They are, when I say Bert Troutman's my footballing hero, the 2 heroes in my life are Jock and Billy. So Jock was John Primrose Wilson. I'm not sure whether that was going to come up or not, but the family name is Primrose, and we all got it.
Oh, wow.
Not good to be called Primrose if you're a goalkeeper, I can tell you. But anyway, Jock was a Spitfire pilot, and he was 2 years. I mean, he died when he was still 19 years of age.
Wow.
Got down over France. And so I was 4 months old when Jock lost his life. And I wasn't quite 2 years of age when Billy, who was a rear gunner in a Lancaster bomber, was shot down right on the border of Holland and Germany. And we visited where they are. Meg's my wife, and my sister Jean, and my brother. And we even took my mum before my mum died. And I mean, to do what those guys did, anything I do in my life could never come near.
No.
You can't.
Heroes, Bob. Heroes.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah, absolute heroes, and that applied obviously to thousands and millions, of family. So I would love, one day maybe they'll be there waiting.
Yeah,
waiting there.
Just see the pain, even though you say you never met them, there's that legacy and that connection between family is unbreakable, isn't it? It's, Terry, was there another question from the past?
No. I mean, it is incredible when you go back. I think in today. So I'm 61. And I remember, and obviously brought up and educated in England, so our history was primarily World War I and II. And so you have so much knowledge. You talk to people, I don't want to sound like a granddad, but you do talk to people that are educated today. And World War II is kind of a blip, something, and don't really understand the magnitude of how it completely changed life in the United Kingdom for decades.
But Terry, it's interesting. During lockdown, one of the first things I did once I'd cleaned up back patios and places and everything was to go to the office and look through everything that I had, my own football career, but the family history and everything. And I've redone all the books. And with my grandchildren, I'm desperately keen, and I've already started doing this, showing them, that their uncles, were these guys who have kept us in this world that we live in, the free world that we live in, thanks to their courage and all the millions of others. And I find it just incredible to think that, that Jock was a year out of school flying a Spitfire when he was killed. I find that he was a school captain at Chesterfield Grammar School. And Billy then followed him and wanted to be a pilot himself, but I think, from what I gather from my sister Jean, who had to go through, you imagine she was sort of 14, around about 13 and 15 when they were killed. The impact on Jean was massive. My brother Hugh, who is still with us, 3 years older, he remembers the knock on the door when they came to tell my mum and dad that Billy had gone missing. But of course, at that time, and Megs and I, we actually have their last letters, because everybody who I think all the guys who fought, they were sort of not asked to, but they were sort of recommended to write a letter to mum and dad in case they didn't come home. And they are amazing letters. It's, if we can do anything to keep this great country of ours free, and you look at these letters, and this is a 19-year-old and a 21-year-old who are writing as if they're 40 and 50 years of age. and looking back on their life and just so proud that they were in the family that they were in, and that there was never, don't worry if you hear I'm shot down, I might be a prisoner of war somewhere, keep faith and everything. So, obviously for me, they have been, incredible. They're incredible guys. All of the guys who went out and did that, whether it be in the Air Force, the Navy, or the Army,
and so deserving of the term heroes for sure. Incredible sacrifice, it really is. I've got something that we've lined up for this show. I've got 2 3-minute videos we're going to watch together, the three of us. Not done this on the show before, but being a football geek, I had to do this. So this is a little bit of self-indulgence for me with Sam and Bob. We're going to play 2 videos. The first video is, quote, the 10 best goals ever scored. I can tell you now I don't agree with them. However, it's all subjective. So what we're going to do, the three of us are going to watch these 10 goals, comment on them. You'll hear us, you won't see us. You'll see the goals. And at the end, Bob, we've got to pick our favourite of the 10.
Okay.
All right, so here's the first one. This is Diego Costa. You remember this one, Sam?
No, don't remember it. I remember Diego Costa was with Chelsea for a long time.
Yeah.
Great player. Great ball.
That was
travelling across as well.
Look at this one, Bob.
Crazy.
Goalie should have had that ball.
Yeah, goalie should have had that for sure.
That is extraordinary. It's acrobatics even before he strikes the ball, but it's just going for it. Full volley, far corner, goalkeeper doesn't move.
Oh, the spin.
Ronaldinho, what a player it was.
I did that once, trying to save spilling the coffee in the kitchen.
And your back's been out since.
This is what you practice as a kid, control on any part of your...
Arsenal.
Yeah.
Look at this volley.
So difficult. This is such a difficult skill because he's on the move, flat out, and he's taking a chance. I think that was at Charlton, if I remember.
Right.
I'm sure it was Charlton. Oh, my goodness. You see, crazy. The goal doesn't move, so all these like that, it hits a corner.
Oh, I was here. I was at this game.
This is the Wayne Rooney one. This is crazy, yeah.
What a goal that was! Minutes before the end of the game.
Well, the great thing about that is what kind of game it was, what it meant.
Was when he's up in the air.
Yeah.
You don't even feel hitting the ground when you hit the back of the net like that.
Like golf swing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, great header. Another Van Persie, my goodness, another Robin Van Persie.
Great player. That's for Holland by the looks of it, isn't it, Bob?
That's pretty amazing, that is.
What a goal.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at whether it's a chain shirt or not. It doesn't look like an international jersey. They played in orange. This is Ajax.
Yeah.
This is in the European Cup final, I think.
Look at that.
Oh, another one. You see, it's very difficult there. Would you put Rooney or would you put Van Basten? I think that's the third one. In fact, Giroud scored a goal for Arsenal 2 or 3 years ago exactly like that.
Yeah.
He scored 2 great goals that game, I believe, Bob.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, my goodness. That's about the distance. The problem with that one, the greatness of that is how far out it is.
Look at this one, though.
Oh, crazy.
Oh, gee.
I don't even remember that. That is just, at this moment in time, I'd have to say that because that's an 18-yard line there and he's another 8-10 yards on from it.
25 yards.
Amazing.
25.
That was, I think that was Euro, must have been 2004 Sweden. Ibrahimovic.
I think you've got to go for that one probably because, he's back to goal. Okay, all these guys just have an inbuilt antenna, as it were, and knowing where the goal doesn't move. As I say, it's 8 yards by 8 feet. It's 192 square feet. It's an effing great chasm, believe you me.
Well, you're stuck between those sticks, it is, Bob, isn't it?
Yeah. And, if the fact that he is so far out there, I would have to say, probably with me, that would be the one that I would say of that collection.
Yeah, what do you think, Sam? You agree with that?
I'm with him. Yeah, it's the fact that he's measured how far the players are that have come out. to get the ball, and he's lobbed them with the shot as well. So it's not just been a hit and hope.
Yeah.
Put thought into that. The guy was incredible.
No,
Still is an incredible baller.
Brilliant. So here's a quick answer from the three of us. The one goal that you would like to relive again that meant something to you as a fan. One goal that you want to relive again.
Oh, that's easy for me.
Okay.
Now, come on, that's very easy. That's 1989. That's Arsenal having to go to Liverpool.
Yeah.
And they had to win 2-0. And they're going into the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game, and we're 1-0 up. We haven't conceded, but we had to win. And I mean, it's so famous and unbelievably. Michael Thomas. It was Michael Thomas, and it's a very famous ball because I know as I was watching it, and our goalkeeper at the time, John Lukic, because I was the goalkeeping coach at Arsenal at that time, unpaid amateur, or whatever you'd like to call me at the time. And I was shouting at the screen because I was only watching it on the telly, and I was saying, "Lukey, kick it!" And he threw it to the left back, and then the left back played it, and it eventually got to Alan Smith, and Alan Smith knocked it in the middle, and suddenly Michael Thomas was through on his own, and very, very famously, and I know you will all have heard this, it was Brian Moore, who was the ITV commentator, suddenly came up with the line, a little bit like the famous line, I think it's all over, it is now, but he came up, it's up for grabs now, and Michael Thomas slotted it, and I mean, that without any doubt is wow. The most extraordinary. I mean, imagine winning it. I mean, we weren't far off that when we'd actually won the league at Tottenham. Yeah. You know, we were 8 minutes to go when we got the goal that won it for us.
And the best part about you spending that much time on that answer is my brother-in-law Steve, who's a massive Liverpool fan, just had to sit through listening to you remind him.
Does he watch you, Terry?
He's watching.
Does he actually watch you? You know?
Well, I don't know. He might have turned it off right now, but he's just commented. I'm looking over here at the feed. He put Michael Thomas and a bunch of red anger faces on there, so he's still having nightmares. So I'm glad you got to relive that. Thanks, Steve. That one's on me. Sam, what's your goal? What goal do you want to relive?
Oh, my favourite goal has got to be the semi-final of the FA Cup in 1985, and I was there at Villa Park when Everton played Watford. And was it Watford? Yes, was it Watford? We played them in the final, didn't we? The semi-final. Yeah. Oh, Luton. We played Luton in the semi-final, and it was 1-1, and it went to extra time. And Kevin Sheedy, great left winger for Everton, scored with a free kick, which put us to 2-1. We eventually won that game 3-1. But the elation when that goal went in, you know, when all of your dreams come true because you live and breathe football. And happy memory for me. Great game.
Oh, absolutely. Well, mine's going to be obvious, and there's two that are really close. George Best in '68, rounding the goalie for Benfica. That's nearly it. Ryan Giggs' goal in the semi-final against Arsenal. That one when he went and beat 100 players and then put it in the top corner, beating David. But
David Seaman,
yeah, which was amazing. But the best goal for the most memorable that I want to relive over and over, and I do, is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in 1999. That I believe, Bob, you were doing the game, covering the game.
Yeah, I was presenting the program that night, and I mean it was extraordinary because not only you mentioned the goal, the Ryan Giggs goal against David Seaman. And that was when we had a penalty first, and Dennis Bergkamp, of all, my favourite ever Arsenal player, had his penalty saved by Peter Schmeichel, and then you went on to win it. So, I mean, these memories, it's just incredible that you bring these up, and sometimes the memories are really fresh in my mind.
Yeah, it's so much good stuff. Okay, so we did goals. We picked out best, but you're a goalie. And we think we know what your best save was. I think I'm right in saying at the feet of Georgie Best.
Favourite save.
Favourite save. Okay. Yeah. Well, it was a big one. But we have someone has compiled the 10 greatest saves. Now, I already know what you believe is the greatest save ever.
Before we see it.
Do you want to tell us?
Oh, definitely Banksy.
Gordon Banks.
Banksy by a mile, you know. I mean, we lost Banksy in the last year and a half or so. It was my era, you know, in when we went on and won the double in 70-71. We played Stoke City in the semi-final. Banksy at one end, me in the other. I was born in Chesterfield, Derbyshire. Banksy was in goal. I was 15, standing behind his goal, wanting to be a goalie, watching this lad of 18 and 19 with springs in his heels.
Yeah.
And the save in that World Cup, it is extraordinary. The whole move leading up to it, and the reason that it is so extraordinary is that he's outside his near post when Jairzinho, I think it might be Jairzinho, who actually crosses the ball and to Pele's head, and Pele gets above Alan Mullery. It's the fact that he's outside his near post, so there's a yard to go then, and then there's 8 yards to cover. And the only great thing in his favour was that Pele headed it into the ground, and that it was like when he had 2 or 3 steps to get partly across his goal, and then he hurled himself the rest of the way, and then he just, as the ball bounced, it was like an instinctive, you know, trust your instinct, and he just managed to get this ball and conjured it over the bar. And was on the ground. I mean, we were all, you just couldn't believe what was happening. And very famously, Bobby Moore, the captain, went up to him and said, "You should be catching those, Banks."
You should be catching those.
It's true. That is a true story.
Oh, that's brilliant.
You should be catching those.
A couple of people are agreeing Gordon Banks against Pele. But before I get to that video, there's a lady here who watches our shows from America, and she says, how do they remember all these things? And I'm going to tell you how, Linda. It's impossible to know what football is truly a religion in that we think about it, we do it every single day of our life. It's that important to us. So it really is kind of a religion, because even though it's just a game and we are passionate and the game's over and you're up there or you're down there, you still get on with life and you still have everything. But it means so much to you. So I think it's more of a religion than a sport to us.
Yeah, you need to let her know, although she's obviously listening, but you need to know that when you're the goalie, you actually remember the mistakes you make far more than you remember the saves.
And I think you get criticised for them as well. And just recently, David De Gea with those howlers that he just had a couple of days ago. But they they don't talk about the 17 clean sheets or something this year. You know, so yeah, Well,
it's interesting. You know, just 2 days ago, I was allowed to put out at last. The New York Times put together an animation. It's called The Lonely Goalkeeper, so people might be able to look it up there now, because I think it's out there.
Okay.
It certainly is in this country. And it's from a program I did on BBC Radio 4 many years ago, and it's been set to animation. It's called The Lonely Goalkeeper. It lasts 3 minutes 20. It's just been a gentleman called Andrea that in New York has put it together with his team, and it's just amazing. It's called The Lonely Goalkeeper because it is a lonely position.
Yeah, I bet. Well, I'll take a look at that. We're going to watch 10 of whoever put this video together, the 10 greatest saves. Let's see if we agree with him. Let us know what you think. Eddie did it, whoever Eddie might be. The top 10 goalie saves. Buffon.
Yeah, Buffon. Amazing goalkeeper, Buffon.
Yeah.
Goalie. Against one of the greatest players there as well as Zinedine Zidane.
I mean, legendary, yeah. But that's an easy save.
Yeah. An easy one or one that should
It's relatively easy because it's almost at him.
Right at him, right down his throat.
It's your reaction, and you get a hand to it.
Yeah.
That is a relatively easy save, honestly. He would have been upset if he hadn't saved that. Oh, my goodness.
Oh. And another.
Yeah, well, that's a double save, but he's got himself in a mess because he's come out when he shouldn't come out.
Yeah.
No sympathy there, Bob.
That's not going to get in my greatest saves, that. I mean, that's terrific that even with VAR, that shows it's not over the line.
Yeah.
It was a great recovery, Bob, not a great save.
Brilliant recovery. Absolutely. You know, some people would have given up. I mean, how has he he's sort of scooped it out off the goal line.
Well done.
Now, where are we here on? Oh, yeah, well, that's just a great block. That's yes, yeah. I mean, I think he's still playing, you know. I think it's about
Robin
40,
is, yeah.
42.
you're
Certainly he was
great.
playing up to a year ago. That's just about making your body. You need a barrier.
Yeah.
So that's the goal barrier. It doesn't matter whether it comes off your toe or it comes off your hands. That's come off his toe, but he's made a complete barrier and closed the goal down.
Oh, I remember that one.
That's a great save because, again, that's scooping it. It looks as if it's in the back of the net and he's scooped it off the goal line.
Oh, yeah, right into the post.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good
Great.
positioning, that, Bob. Good positioning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, it's in, and then you never give up.
Wow.
And that's just great agility, gymnastic agility. Not sure I know that with that one.
That's a great save.
Yeah. He's been beaten on his near post, which he, by the way, if that first one had gone in, he would have been accused of letting it in his near post. Here it is.
Here it
This
is.
is it. This is the big one.
This is the one. Look at this. If we see this again, guys, just look at the amount of how far he's travelled. Look, Banksy's outside his near post when he crosses it. Footwork, and then the dive, and then the hand that pushes it over.
Oh, my God.
What a save.
Extraordinary. And here's Casillas again. That's what you work as a goalie. You work in training and day after day after day. That's going for the impossible. You just hurl your body. It's a certain goal, and you just hope you get part of your body in the way of it. And that's exactly what's happened there. Stuck his hand way out. Great saves. Oh, this is of course the cup final.
Yeah.
That one. They knocked us out in the semi, by the way.
Did they?
So that should have been us at Wembley and not them. But that save by Jim Montgomery. David Coleman, I think, shouted goal. I think the commentator said goal. That's blimey. That's my man.
Yeah, that's David Seaman.
Yeah, that was his coach here.
I was at that game, Bob.
Yeah, I mean, this is extraordinary. I'd place that as the second best. In fact, Peter Schmeichel said it's the best save he's ever seen in his life.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I know all Sheffield United fans jumped on they all thought it was in there.
He had no right to save it, did he, Bob? No right at all.
No. Oh, look at this here. Yeah. Brilliant. Brilliant. You've come out because you come out to narrow the angle, and then you've got caught by that ball, and just a brilliant recovery. Wow. And all I could show you was me diving at George Best's feet.
Yeah, but he had the best feet ever, Bob, didn't he? So
yeah, without doubt. I mean, I very proudly here at home, I have a print, and it's of a football ground up in the northeast. That's what it's best meant to represent. And it's a night game, and there are all the little houses leading down to this great giant stadium with the floodlights. And it's called the artist called it The Boy That Didn't Get a Ticket. He's got a number 7 on his back, a red shirt on, Man United. It's meant to be Bestie. And when that was first shown to the public, he signed 3. And I have over the years managed to acquire one of those 3. Right. So that's my respect for George and just, well, there you go. That's incredible.
Now, my son bought me this for Christmas. He's not autographed on there, but he's got it there. Truly an idol. Can I tell you another, Terry, before you leave that?
Yeah, leave by all means. But do you know the great thing about that? George's writing is immaculate. You read there, Georgebest. You can see every single letter.
Yeah.
The modern day footballer does a squiggle.
Yeah.
You ain't got, when you get a team sheet and you've got them all the signatures, you ain't got a clue who they are unless they put their number by it.
It's funny.
That's another thing from yesteryear when we proudly, if somebody said, "Can I have your autograph, mate?" And you proudly tried to make it so clear what your name was.
Yeah.
And George's is very, very clear. Georgebest.
Yeah. One of the men I'd never got to meet, and I would have absolutely Love to have met him. In fact, Nick and I came over from here when George passed away. They, the next game was at West Ham. They did a great tribute to him. And Sam actually got me tickets for the game. We flew over, and I just had to be there for that game.
Do you know on the This Is Your Life program, when they brought him on as a guest with the stave you've shown of mine at his feet, and George is on it, and he says, I don't actually remember this. He says, I don't remember much about it. Bob will tell you what the time was, what the state of the pitch was. It's hilarious. He goes through about 4 or 5 things.
Yeah.
I mean, the way he passed it off was brilliant. You know?
Absolutely.
So many honours in your life, Bob. What was it like to coach the Invincibles? Because you were there through that time with Seaman and those days.
No, well, the irony, Sam, was that I coached the goalies for 28 years at Arsenal. There were no goalkeeping coaches when, the old school teacher, Terry Neal, the year after I retired, said, I hear you're concentrating on goalkeepers. I said, well, there are no goalkeeping coaches. And he said, well, will you come and do Arsenal? So for 28 years, only in the last 3 years, in fact, did I get any payment for those years. Yeah, so I mean, I was so fortunate, Sam, in the goalkeepers that I was, I experienced in all that time. Obviously great goalkeepers like David Seaman and like Pat Jennings, and then John Lukic, the one I said in that 89 game. The irony was, and you just touched upon it, was that I retired on the year before, the end of the season before the Invincibles.
It's weird how many people cross over that time, because there were great teams right throughout that period, weren't they? Arsenal.
I mean, I was still there at every game, Sam. And, you look at the Liverpool side now, which has just been extraordinary. They finished up losing 3 games.
Yeah, I know.
They looked as if they weren't going to lose any. And I promise you, to go, it was 42 games we played in my day. Nowadays, it's 38 games. But to go 38 games without losing a game, it is miraculous, and there's a part of all Arsenal fans who are chuffed if the best team of the season is not going to have an invincible season.
And I think if you look at Liverpool now, and I don't like saying this because I can't stand Liverpool, but they've lost a couple of the games since the restart after they'd won the league. So even though it could be argued they could play, but last season I think they only lost 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So we're talking 2-3 seasons where, when I think when next year when United win the league, it's going to be such a big achievement because we will have beaten a great Liverpool team.
Yeah, they're still going to be good next year, Terry, I can assure you.
I know.
Man United are definitely on the up. There is no doubt about that. So and so they should be. I mean, the two clubs in England with the greatest history are Liverpool and Man United. Trophies won, over 30 trophies, 40 trophies or around that. The third one is my club, Arsenal, who've won over 30 trophies. But I mean, historically, the Northwest and Liverpool and obviously Manchester United. And United as well, ever since the Munich Air disaster, which impacted on me because I was technically I was on their books at the time as a kid. They will always be one of they're really the richest club in the world. It will always be that.
I think I don't know if you've seen the movie called United with David Tennant, who plays Jimmy Murphy. Have you seen that?
No.
It's actually brilliant, Bob. I'll get a link to you. It's on Netflix or some of them.
Yeah.
David Tennant plays Jimmy Murphy, and it chronicles the games before, and when they went to Belgrade, and then and then the crash, obviously. But it focuses around Harry, Greg, and Bobby Charlton, who was a kid, and how they came back. The team sheet that had no names on it, and now they actually got through to the cup final, and they became the team that everybody want to love because of the crash.
Absolutely. And Terry, can I just, when I was into my 40s, finished playing obviously, but still capable of playing, we had an old international side, including Bobby Moore, Bobby Charlton, myself and everything. And we went 1 year to Brazil, which was extraordinary in one way, and we went to South Africa on a trip on the other. And on one of these trips, I was at the time writing for a football magazine. So I said to Bobby, Bobby, can I sit with you on this flight? And would you do an interview with me? I knew full well what I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
Because here he was flying, a guy who's been in, you know, and we got on this aircraft, and as we taxied out, it was like Niagara Falls coming off his forehead. And I said, oh my God, Bob, you know, does this affect you this badly? Since Munich and since 1958, February 1958. Mm-hmm. And he said, yeah, he said, you know, obviously I go back to it and everything. And then it's almost impossible to get your head around the fact that this, Bobby then told me they did the takeoff. There was a very famous goalie called Frank Swift of Manchester City made a joke. He was a journalist at the time. It was their third attempt to take off, and they had crashed on the third attempt. And Bobby told me, he said, the next thing I knew, Bob, was that I'm sitting in a field with snow everywhere, and the aircraft is burning to my right, and sitting next to me is one of my colleagues who was not alive.
Yeah, it's
crazy. It was just, you know, I mean, how do you get your head around that, something like that for the rest of your life? Almost impossible.
Yeah, eight of his co-players passed away. Another...
including Duncan Edwards, 15 days after the crash. And Duncan Edwards was an 18, 19-year-old going on about 32. He was just amazing, yeah.
So let me ask you this question. This is from my dad. What was Duncan like? He said he was the greatest.
Yeah, I didn't. So I only met him the once when I was on on the books, and it was like, you know, we're going to sign this lad, and I was up there playing. So I did meet them all on one occasion. They were about to go off to play a game. I can only tell you what I saw, and that was this lad of 18 moving on to 19, and he was built like, as if he'd come out of some shipyard. It was just extraordinary thighs and everything. And there used to be called a Duncan Edwards ball. Not only was he great in almost any position on the field, he had when United were winning, he would hit a Duncan Edwards ball to make sure that he wasted another 2 or 3 minutes he just had a brilliant footballing brain and way ahead of his time, and an England player at that, you know, still as a teenager. Yeah. So just incredible. The sadness of, you know, Munich has been 2 or 3 major sort of tragedies in that way.
I got to tell you, it's a movie, but it's so well done. It's called United. It's David Tennant. It brought me to tears for obvious reasons, but it's well done. David Tennant's portrayal of Jimmy Murphy and the role he played with those boys before the crash and after the crash, it's amazing. And he basically run the football side of the team while Samat was in an oxygen tent and all the football stuff. Hey, look.
Yeah, well, I did meet Jimmy Murphy, and he was sort of Samat was serious but incredible, obviously, as a manager, and Jimmy was the one who would try to lighten things to, he was the perfect partner, as it were, the perfect one to have alongside you.
Yeah.
And
this is great.
Humorous as well. Yeah.
This is great.
There's one thing I want to touch on, mate, if you don't mind, before we... Well, it was regarding the 21 years anniversary, Bob, of a very special thing that means a whole lot to you, sir.
Yeah, we are 21 years old. The Willow Foundation, it's called. So people say, why is it called Willow? So I say, well, look, my nickname as a player, if you're a player and you're Smith, you're either Smudger like Alan Smith or Smithy, or Pat Rice played in our side, you become Ricey. If you're Wilson, you become Willow. So that was my nickname. And then Anna was a community nursing sister. This was our daughter, and she was 27 years of age when she was unlucky enough to find herself with one of the rarest cancers known to man. And she died 6 days before her 32nd birthday, but she was known as Little Willow. She had married just a year before she was diagnosed. And then in the year that followed, Meg's particularly just said, and it was Anna really, in the last week or two of her life, said to her mum, don't let this thing destroy you. Use what you've learned. And Megs was like, yeah, okay, Anna, but what have we learned? And it was all about quality of life and quality of time. And so we created a charity that was in Anna's age group, the only UK charity in the age group 16 to 40. So if you're not going to enjoy yourself in between that period of time, you're never going to enjoy yourself. So we called it the Willow Foundation. We give special days for seriously ill young adults in that age group 16 to 40, all life-threatening, all life-limiting illness. And as Sam, as you said, we're 21 years old coming up in 2 or 3 weeks, and 17,000 special days given. And it's been amazing. We are obviously at this moment, we're not allowed to give any special days because of lockdown and everything, but our shops are reopened, and we're out there to try and make sure that we can still get some support and get enough money. It might be a different looking Willow when we come back from the pandemic, but it's Anna's legacy, Sam. You know it. It's Anna's legacy.
We love it. We've been tied to it for a long, long time. I'm proud to say so as well. And it started basically from nothing, Bob. With no, and we'll start that again.
Yeah, but you and Linda are two of our ambassadors. Always turn up when we need you. And other people that have been connected with me, whether it be Natasha Kaplinsky and Mary Nightingale, or obviously on the football front, Big Pat Jennings, David Seaman, Martin Chivers. That support has been incredible to help Willow become recognised as a national charity.
Incredible events. Incredible.
Yeah. Wow. What a story. We've put the link up here on our feed with everyone watching to the Willow Foundation. Everyone who's watching, go and click on it. Let's donate. Let's shed some more light on that. If we're going to try and scroll that down so everybody can see it, there it is. You'll see it on your screen in a second. But if you can go on willowfoundation.org.uk, and there it is.
That picture you keep showing of me, who is that bloke there?
Well, I don't know, it's someone there. It's actually on our screen, and we've just got a camera on part of our studio. So
that's me in my presenting days. That's more, yeah.
I can see Tommy Dock walking behind you. But
Tommy Dock, you mentioned Tommy Dock. Tommy Dock was the one who, when they changed the ruling, you see, although I had a Scottish mum and dad, you could only play for the country in which you were born when I was a kid. So I played for England schoolboys. When I was 30 years of age, when we won the double, they changed the rule and said, if you've got a Scottish dad or a Scottish mum, I'd got a Scottish dad and a Scottish mum. And so Tommy Docherty was the manager, and he picked me.
Yeah.
What did he call you, Bob? What was his nickname for you?
English-born player to play for Scotland. First game against Eusebio and Portugal. Second game against Cruyff and Holland. Wow. I mean, there's two players, particularly Cruyff, incredible footballers.
Bob Wilson, an English name. What did he call you? What did Tommy Docherty nickname you?
Mac.
Jock Wilson, wasn't it?
Yes, Jock. Yeah.
Jock Wilson.
Tommy was brilliant with me because, when George Graham and I flew up on the plane and they met us at the airport, the whole team on the way to our hotel, and you can imagine how nervous I was. I got on this coach and all I could see was, do you see that? Do you can? And of course, that was normal for me when I'd been living with my mum and dad. But I'm there with a very English Derbyshire Chesterfield accent, and like an idiot, I can remember saying, "Oh, do you ken?" What does ken mean? And it means, do you know? And there's a wee burn over there, a wee little river and whatever. Oh, so I made a stupid mistake. But there you go. I was accepted I was eventually accepted by the Scottish fans, even though my career for Scotland didn't last long because I was injured and out and finished then.
Wow!
What an honour to play for your international side, though, Bob. Great honour.
Yeah. Well, we've got some Bob Wilson trivia to play, and you'll see the thing on there. There's a scan. Just go ahead and scan that QR code now. Or on your smartphone or tablet. Put in tadtrivia.com/Bob Wilson, and you can win some prizes. Now, I'll tell you, I've added another prize to this. You're going to win $100 in Tad travel bucks. We are also going to make Tad are going to make a donation to the Willow Foundation. foundation in your name, whoever the winner might be. So you're playing for that foundation, so more reason to get these questions right. So go ahead and scan that code. It's tradtrivia.com/Bob Wilson. And Bob, some of these questions are about you and your career. We've garnered some questions from the show, so making sure people are paying attention. And we've got lots of American viewers too. So we've got some what we think are relatively simple questions, but maybe not so over here. So we'll find out. We're going to see how this goes. This will be fun. It's tadtrivia.com or scan that QR code. We're going to get the trivia screen up on here. And this is going to be fun. That's how we've got the layout today. That looks good, Ross. Good for you.
Bob, you're going to know the answers to all of these. So if you feel like you want to answer them, don't.
Yeah, don't. Not yet. We're going to start it. We're going to keep that countdown in. And we're going to play the Bob Wilson football trivia. This will be fun. And as Bob has told you, those measurements there, the goal, the penalty box, and so on, have never changed. In how many years now is it the football's been around?
Well, 1860 or whatever when the game began.
Yeah, that's great.
Coach's goalpost then, Bob, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, certainly when you were a kid, Sam.
Here we go. Question number 1 looks something like this. What is Bob's nickname? Willie or Wanty, Willow, Willie, or Big Bob?
Willie or Wanty?
I don't have to answer that, do I?
No, you don't. Not just yet.
You're going to know all the answers to these, Bob. You're going to know all these. Didn't you have a nickname as the Cat as well, Bob? Was that you?
No, that was Peter Benetti. But I'm glad I've escaped my middle name, the family name, because I am Robert Primrose.
Don't say that. That's one of the questions.
So let's see how the viewers voted here. What do we got? We got 88% said Willow and 13% said Willie. So what do you think it is, Bob?
It is Willow.
It is. Correct answer is Willow. Let's look at that leaderboard. Who's in the lead? We have Little Rhodey, followed by Bill, followed by Good Girl. Next question. All right, Sam, can you see that?
Just about. Who did Bob's dad stop him signing for early in his career? Was it Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, or Manchester United? His dad stopped him from signing. Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, or Man United? We're not going to give any clues away from this, but Terry might have a certain allegiance to one of those clubs.
I'm not sure. Can somebody help Steve, my brother-in-law, who actually he just wrote Manure, so you can actually just cut him off.
Who was it, Bob?
No, send in the link.
It was Manchester United.
You know, before we move on here, I just want to make a little point that this interview could have been so much different, Bob, and I blame your dad for it. Because had you signed for United, you'd have been the guy saving that Eusebio shot in the European Cup final. You would have not saved that from Georgie Best and would have won the FA Cup. So I'm blaming your dad for that.
Yeah, but Terry, I think the way I look at it is I was a bit raw at the time and everything. I think I could have been on the scrap heap by the time I was 20.
I don't think so. But anyway, let's see how the viewers voted. Did we all say Man United, 100%, you see? Love it.
100%. Wow. Well done.
All right. Let's see. Let's move on to the next question. Which international team did Bob play for? Was it Wales, Scotland, England, or Ireland? And would that be Northern Ireland or Era?
Republic of Ireland, yeah.
Wales, Scotland, England, Ireland. And I'll use this time to pay tribute to Jackie Charlton, Republic of Ireland's manager who just passed away. What a great, towering man, not only physically.
The giraffe.
Yeah. What's the answer to that one, Bob?
Scotland.
Scotland.
I played for England schoolboys, but internationally at a big level, Scotland.
There you go.
Scotland it is.
Leaderboard looks like this. All right. Little Rhodey's winning, followed by Bill, followed by Good Girl. Next question. Looks like this. Which goalkeeper... Is it me or you, Sam? Oh, this is you, Sam.
This one, sorry. Which goalkeeper was Bob's hero? Was it Bert Troutman, Gordon Banks, Harry Gregg, or Dino Zoff? Bob's hero. mentioned it. If you were listening throughout the show, should we give him a clue, Terry?
I can give you a clue. It wasn't Peter Schmeichel.
Not my era.
No. Great goalie, though.
Oh, absolutely. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And the answer is, Bob?
The answer is Bert Troutman. Yeah.
Definitely. Oh, we only had 22% said Bert. Now we confused them with the goal the save from Banksy.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing also, I also mentioned the fact that I stood behind his goal when I was a kid. So, you know, Banksy was definitely a hero, and I happened to play in the same era, which I didn't with Bert. But the inspiration for me was, and the reason was, you know, we talked about Bert breaking his neck. I could do what Bert did, which was dive headlong at people's feet. And although I got punctured lungs and broken ribs and broken arms and left ear torn off, he was my hero.
Yeah. I'm just going to mention that the link that Scotty put on is actually not right. If you could relook at that and give it to Steve, that would be great. And make sure Steve doesn't win. All right, next question. What is Bob Wilson's middle name? Is it Primrose, Benedict, Hyacinth, or Randolph?
I hope you're going to allow me to explain this.
Bob Benedict Wilson, Bob Hyacinth Wilson.
I like the ring of that. Robert Randolph Wilson. That would have go, wouldn't it? That's got a ring to it.
Yeah.
All right.
Nobody would call their child Primrose, surely.
What is it, Bob?
Well, let me just very quickly explain that the tradition in Scotland, in Ayrshire, where my mum and dad came from, was that you got your mum's middle name. So her name was Catherine Wingate, which was her mum's name, and her dad was the Reverend Robert Primrose.
Wow, I did not know.
So we all got, and I talked to my brothers, it was Jock Primrose, William Primrose, Donald Primrose, Catherine Jean Primrose. My brother Hugh got Hugh Wingate, lucky devil, because that was part of her, and I was Robert Primrose. Not good when you're a goalie and you let in a bad goal.
Yeah. and being from Ayrshire and the name Robert, you got the name from Robbie Burns, no doubt.
Definitely Robbie Burns. A wee timorous moose. Yeah.
Absolute legend.
All right, next question. Go ahead, Sam. Next one.
Goes like this. How many league titles have Arsenal won? Is it 12, 13, 18, or 15? Do you know this, Bob? Don't answer us yet. If you do.
I don't think I know this, actually.
Well, I wrote the questions and I can't remember. But there'll be some Arsenal fans out there that'll know exactly what the answer is. And it was correct because I do have it on good authority. Hoping that Wikipedia is correct. I think it's right though. I looked at a couple of sources. Do you know, Bob?
Well, it's 15, isn't it? 15, Sam?
I think it is 15.
Let's see what viewers voted. Most said 12. Go ahead, let's see what the correct answer is. It is 13, according to
13.
The research.
Oh, like I say, I forgot. That's correct, though, according to the interweb.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it's correct, yeah.
And Mimi has gone to the top. And Steve said 13 as well, even though he can't get on the thing. All right, next question is, what number was given to the goalkeeper's position originally? This is before all the numbers went to number 78 and stuff. Was it number 2? Was it number 11? Was it number 7? Or was it number 1?
So back in the old days, Bob, when you had was literally so many positions, and it was very rare you saw a number 13 on the field, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I've got a good story linked to what the answer is.
To this? You can give us the answer, Bob.
Well, it's 1.
Give us a story.
Number 1. And can I just say that, you know, they didn't bring numbers on the back of shirts until about 1926 or 1930, and they never allowed a goalkeeper to have a number on. But because I had such a long route to making it to the Arsenal first team, I went to our kit man once I knew I was established and was definitely number 1 choice. And I said, I want the biggest number 1 you can find stitched on my jersey. And that I was about the first one when, you know, to have it on the back. The goalies didn't wear numbers on their backs, and I was so determined. You know, it had taken me so long to get where I wanted to be, and a lad called Tony Donnelly, and he was our kit man, and
Wow.
his wife's on the biggest number one.
That's
Here's a
great.
question for you, Terry. Bob, see if you know this one. Who was the very first number 9 centre forward? Who was the first player to have a number 9 stitched on their shirt?
Dixie Dean.
Exactly right.
Okay. I was going to say Dixie Dean or Tommy Lawton. Yeah, right.
What a player he was. 91% got that right, Bob, with number 1.
Next
Right.
question.
Let's have a look at the leaderboard.
What do they call Premier League football? Oh, sorry, Sam, go ahead.
What do they call Premier League football in Australia? Is it A, rugby, B, football, C, soccer, or D, Australian rules football? What do they call Premier League football in Australia?
And of course, we're talking about the football we play in England, which is now called the Premier League, but used to be called Division 1, 2, 3, and 4. The football we've been
what are the
talking about
Aussies
all
call
day.
it? You know this, Bob? I don't know this.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming it's like in America. It's known as soccer in America, rather than football.
I'm going to go for
I
football.
thought Australian rules football was a totally different game.
Let's see.
So I would say soccer.
Oh, it's right across. It's even this.
Right across the board. What do they call it in Australia? Football. Football.
Love the Aussies. Love the Aussies.
Next question. Little Roadie's in the lead. Which player is attributed to Bob's favourite save?
Have we spoken about this today? I don't think we've mentioned it.
Bob's. So yes,
Only about 10 times.
who did? Bob's favourite save was against whom? Pele, George Best, Johan Cruyff, or Jimmy Greaves? I don't know who Jimmy Greaves is. I think he was a friend of Jimmy Greaves.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there are 3 in there that I was proud to make saves from. Pele I got to meet.
Wow.
Edson Arantes and Nascimento.
Yeah.
What's a player?
I never played against Pele, but I did meet him 2 or 3 times.
And you saved from Bestie and Cruyff and Greaves.
I did indeed, yeah.
And your favourite was against?
George Best.
Georgie. Correct. Leaderboard looks like this. Me, Little Roadie. This is a close one.
That'll be a close one.
Let's see how we, on the final question, Sam.
Final question. Question 10 goes like this. What colour is the Arsenal home shirt? Is it white, green, blue, or red? Dead simple. Give us it.
That is an easy
white,
one.
Green, blue, or red. Dead easy, this.
Here's a question for you, Sam.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you'll get it easy.
I never wore this colour.
No, you didn't. That's why we added your colour in one of the answers.
Yeah.
What's the answer? Let's see the viewers.
What have they come up with?
Well, we got
64%.
27 said green because of the picture I've got on here in green.
Yeah.
But what was the correct
that's
answer?
The goalkeeper. The goalkeeper's a man alone and separate, so red is the correct answer.
Red. And the correct answer there. And the leaderboard, the winner of the competition, Mimi, 624 points. Bill, 602. Little Roadie, 523. A lot of other people. So that's great. Hey, look, you're going to win 100. Mimi, we'll have your email address from when you're registered. You're going to win 100 TAD travel bucks. And we are also going to donate 100 bucks to the Willow Foundation.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. That's incredible. Thank you.
In your name, definitely. This has been amazing show. We ask a question of every guest, Bob, and we'd love to ask you the same question here. If you could spend the next 60 minutes with any 2 people, dead or alive, pick 3 or 4 if you want, anywhere in the world, who would you like to spend the next hour with? Where do you want to go? And what are you going to talk about?
Well, I'm going to go past the 2, obviously. I'd need Megs with me to keep me calm, but I would obviously want to meet, and hopefully one day I will, Jock and Billy, my 2 heroes. And hopefully they've already met Anna. And so, you know, to be with Anna would just be extraordinary. So, yeah, what would we talk about? Family.
Yeah.
Family, and just how life can be really, really great.
Well, I'm sure that reunion is going to happen at one point or another, definitely. Thanks so much for being on the show, Bob. It's been incredible. Thanks for setting this up as well, Sam. It's been a great show. The viewers are loving the show. I've loved it. I've been thinking through the show, how am I going to end this? I'm not just going to say, hey, thanks for watching, goodbye. So I'm going to end it like this. And I might not even say this right, but in the 90s, I met Eric Cantona. It was after the cup final when I'll spend a bit of time on this because we beat Liverpool in the cup final 1-0. And it was, about 9 minutes ago when Cantona just leant back, that balance, and volleyed it through and beat Grobbelaar. And yeah. So that day, the 2 days after, they were having the celebration dinner, and I got to go to Old Trafford and met everybody, all the class of '92 and all that. But I wanted to meet Cantona, and he wasn't there. And the guy that was organising it said to me, "Okay, come here. Do you want your picture taken with the FA Cup?" "Oh yes, please." And I walked round, and Eric was there, and I had a photograph of me with the FA Cup and Eric, and I treasure it. And I was speechless. I couldn't speak anything, and I regret it. I'm glad I'm not speechless today, because it's really been a massive honour spending an hour talking to a football legend, Bob. Thank you so much.
Terry, thank you. It's been great. You know, Sam there and Sam and Linda have been a huge part of the life and Megs and myself as well. So thank you to everybody who's watching in, and if there's any donation come in, thank you, particularly from the Willow Foundation. And
we are putting the Willow Foundation on the link here on the feed. We're also putting on our website, our Facebook page. Go on there and donate. Sam, thank you so much. You and Linda, as you know, mean everything to us. Thanks for watching Tad Talk. We've got a weekend ahead of us. It's going to be a weekend free of Tad Talk, but Monday we'll be coming back with some great shows. And you take care of yourself. Have a good time, everybody. Thanks for watching Tad Talk.
Thank you.